everyone, it's Shannon and welcome to today's video. So I am back with another ranking. I told you I was going to be doing these rankings and I'm going to try them and knock them out. I want to try and film them before the end of the year. I don't know if they'll get up before the end of the year, but very excited because we're finally doing my Pat McGrath Mothership palettes. I have all 11. Probably don't need all 11, and I will probably be decluttering some when I do my upcoming declutter because while I think they're all amazing quality, I find that I reach for the same ones. There's some that I just absolutely love, and those are the ones. And I think, you know, some of them are just more for maybe makeup artists or people that are more creative than I am. They're all amazing quality. They're great. They're gorgeous. But at the same time, I kind of reach for the same ones. Now, she was coming out with a Mothership every year. However, for 2024, she didn't. So nobody really knows what's going to happen with the Motherships. Is she done? Now, a lot of people didn't like the last Mothership, which was, I think, Sunlit Seduction. I liked it. It's probably up there in my ranking. I can't remember where it is. I know it's not number one, but it's up there. But a lot of people didn't like it because it was kind of the same. And so I think she got a lot of like backlash for it. And then this year she didn't come out with one. So then a lot of people were upset again. So you know, it's kind of like she can't win, but I really love them. I think they're beautiful. I really learned, when I first started getting into the Pat McGrath, I got like the 6 pans, which she doesn't really make anymore. And I realized those really weren't as good quality. And and then I got like a quad of the Bliss Astral shades. It was like on sale one day at Sephora. And I was like, oh, this is what everybody's talking about. This is what everybody's talking about. And then I finally got my first Mothership. I can't even remember. It might have been Divine Rose. It was either Divine Rose or Bronze Seduction, but I got my first one and I was like, okay, yeah, now I get it. And then as there were sales, there were some that I purchased when they came out, when they were released, the newer ones. But then the other ones I purchased when there was like a good Black Friday sale and there was a bundle. So now they're $129, which is expensive. I did not pay $129 for all of them, but I did for some. So it's a lot of money right here, a lot of money. But let's get into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rank them. A lot of this is personal preference, and especially with these, the formulas are great. The formulas are great. There's nothing wrong with the formulas. It's more personal preference, color story. And with the one that comes in like last is kind of just a little bit of the formula just because it's pretty much one formula. So let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to start with the first one. Now, some of them I do have numbered. This one I don't. I don't know why I don't have this one numbered. I think it might have come off. I do have some numbered, so because they all look the same. I think only my Divine Rose 2 is the one that has a different color, but for the most part, they all look the same. So I do have like some numbers placed on there. This one doesn't. And this is Mothership IV Decadence. And this is the one I was talking about where it's all the same formula. And the reason why this is last place, you can tell I've only probably used this 2, maybe 3 times. It looks practically new. I've swatched it. Now the formula is still great. Like it still swatches great. It's beautiful, but it's all kind of like a satin shimmer, like, you know, I guess the satin shades. I don't even know what they are. There's no Bliss Astrals, but there's also no mattes. And when there's no mattes, I kind of don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. So what I have done with this one is I've used this as a complementary palette, and I've tried to use it on its own, and I just don't know how to. So when I do it, I tend to use it as single shadows, which for single shadows, this is a really expensive single shadow palette. So this is one that I will probably be decluttering because I just don't use it. It sits at the bottom of my drawer and it's sad. So there's nothing wrong with the quality. It's great. But if I were to say don't get that one, it would be this one, mainly because the formulas are all the same. It's like the satin formula, and I think you need to have a little bit of depth, you know, mattes, shimmers, and then obviously the special shades. So this one is my number 11, Decadence. Okay, so number 10 is the number 6, which is Midnight Sun. Again, have my little number there. Now, this is the one where I would say this is where it gets to be color story, because from here on out, they all have like a mixture. I don't know why that one just had like one formula, but this one is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I love this shade right here. This purple is just gorgeous. These mattes are just creamy. It's a beautiful palette. I just find I don't reach for it. You know, it's at the end of the day, you know, it's got like, if you were to look at this quad, and when I look at it, I'm like, wow, why don't I use this more? I don't understand it, but there's just more that I like more, and I think it's beautiful. And I'm looking at it now and I'm like, I don't understand, but I think when you have all of them, same with like Natasha Denona, you kind of like, if I'm going to wear Pat McGrath, I'm going to reach for the ones that are my favorites. And this one kind of gets buried. And I'm looking at this and I don't know why, to be honest. But at the end of the day, it kind of goes at the bottom. So this is my number 10, Midnight Sun. Okay, so number 9. This is probably, if you are a Pat McGrath fan, this will surprise you. If you are someone who is kind of new to Pat McGrath and you kind of like basic like me, maybe not. But it is number 3, Subversive. I think this was one that was like sold out forever. Everybody loved it. Everybody thinks it's beautiful, and it is beautiful. It's absolutely stunning. The color story is amazing, and it's very like this shade right here, like on camera, I'm looking at it, it looks blue, but it's actually like purple. It's just absolutely stunning. Like these shades, this is where I can understand where with the newer palettes, the shades aren't as special. So I get that. But what I find is it's a little too dark for me. I find that I struggle with it because it's just a little too dark. Like there's not really a true transition shade. This shade here is light, but it's a satin, which I don't like using a satin as a transition shade, being a 48-year-old woman. So I just find that it's a little too dark for me. And I'm one that I don't like to use more than one palette. If I'm gonna use a palette, I'm gonna use that palette. So I just find that I just don't reach for it. So this is my number 9, Subversive, which is the 3rd one. Okay, moving to number 8. It is the 2nd Mothership, and this is Sublime. So yeah, this is the same thing. Gorgeous. The special shades are amazing. This green shade, you know, for someone who doesn't really like color, this green shade's amazing. Like it is just so gorgeous. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous shade. It's got this like nice, you know, it's just gorgeous. I can't even just say anything else about it. It's just a beautiful shade, very easy to use. These other shades are great. But again, the mattes are just a little too dark for me and a little too deep. You really only have these 2 mattes. The rest are kind of satins, and I don't like using satins for a transition shade. And, you know, she stopped using the blacks after I think the 3rd one. You know, I think it was great to have a black in the beginning, but, you know, if you're buying every one, you don't need a black in every single palette. So she stopped doing that, but in the first couple palettes, everyone had a black. And I really don't use a black shadow. You know, I sometimes do, but, you know, as a liner, but that's it. So again, I just find that I don't reach for this one. And while I think it's stunning, it's just one that is not for me. But still gorgeous, amazing quality. So this is my number 8, and that is Sublime. Okay, so moving on to number 7. We're gonna go back to the first one. This is the number 1 Mothership, and this is Subliminal. And this is the original one. And I don't know if they all 3 came out at the beginning. I was not into like Pat McGrath when they came out. I think the first 3 came out together, but I'm not 100% sure. And again, it's the same thing. These shades are amazing. And this one I just kind of, I don't know why, I think I put this one higher because it does have this great transition shade here, which makes this palette just a little bit more usable. And then this shade right here is amazing. Like this, and this blue, again, this is like a wearable blue. But again, I don't wear a lot of blue. Again, there's the black, and it's an amazing color story, phenomenal. Can definitely use it, but again, when I use it, I tend to find that I'm doing the same thing, and I just end up not using it. I use the other ones that I think are more user-friendly to the average consumer, and that's where I think the Pat McGrath brand is going, and a lot of people don't like that, but I think that's probably a good business sense, because as I'm doing my ranking, I probably wouldn't repurchase this palette, but there are other ones I would repurchase. So I think it's gorgeous, but it's probably going to be in my declutter, which is sad, because I want to really cut down to the ones that I really like and really use. And again, I think it's beautiful, but when I'm going to reach for a Pat McGrath, this one's not it. Okay, so now we're getting to number 6, which is kind of like, it's essentially dead center because there's 11. So number 6 is dead center in the middle. And this is where I really like them. This is the ones where I use number 6, definitely the top 5. But 6 is definitely one that I use quite a bit too. So my number 6 Pat McGrath palette is going to be Divine Rose 2. I still have the 8, which I don't even know why, because I can tell that this is Divine Rose 2 because it's pink. So this one is gorgeous. When this one came out, I think I got it when it came out, or maybe after. I don't even remember when I got it, but I got it, you know, shortly after it came out, and I really like it. It's just a little too bright for me. It's got a little bit too much color. Obviously, I haven't talked about Divine Rose yet, which is going to be higher, which I think is more suited to me. But I use this. I went to my friend's daughter's Barbie party, birthday party, and I wore this palette. I did the hot pink, which was fun, and it was a lot of fun. You know, you got 2 really gorgeous transition shade, really gorgeous crease shade, but that's it. You've only got like 2 mattes. But the Bliss Astrals are gorgeous. It's great. You can get some really beautiful looks. So while I don't use this as much as the Divine Rose 2, I mean the Divine Rose, I do use it, you know, more often than the other 5 that I've talked about so far. So it's a big difference between my top 6 and the other ones, because these are the ones that I probably use quite a bit. So my number 6 is Divine Rose 2. Okay, so now we're moving into my top 5, and my top 5, I don't see me partying with either. And I don't see myself partying with Divine Rose 2 either. That one's probably an iffy, but I don't see it. Probably the other ones I will probably declutter, but my top 5 are definitely I'm keeping. So my number 5 is Sunlit Seduction. This is the most recent one. This is number 11. And this was the one I was talking about that a lot of people didn't like. When it came out, people didn't like it. I will say that these special shades aren't like the special shades. I don't think they're Bliss Astral, or I know somebody told, I don't know the whole formulation stuff, but I know they're not as special as some of those earlier formulas. This shade right here, it's a little deep and it's a little red for the eye. I have worn it and I have, you know, been able to make it work, but it's one of those shades that, I don't know, it's, you have to just kind of you have to be very careful with it. Now the other ones I do really like. I do really like the other shades, but they are lacking that oomph to it. But I feel like this is a very easy wearable palette. But this is the most recent one, and I think this was the most controversial because of that lack of specialness within these like 4 shades. But I think there's 3 mattes, which are phenomenal. The 3 satins are great. And even those not so special shades are still pretty nice. They're just not as nice as some of the other palettes, but I still love it. I still use it quite a bit, and I think it's gorgeous. So this is my number 5 Sunlit Seduction, which is the 11th Mothership. Okay, number 4 is actually what I am wearing today, and it is the Mothership number 5 Bronze Seduction. And this one I think is this one was for the longest time was like the only one at Sephora. And I think this is probably one of the most marketable ones. I think it's gorgeous. You still have got the special shades. The special shades are gorgeous. I am wearing these 2 shades on my eye today, which are gorgeous. And then I'm wearing these 2 mattes as like my transition and the crease. So gorgeous, easy to work with. Just so creamy. The mattes are so good, and I've had this palette for a while and the quality is still amazing. Just phenomenal. Now this shade right here, this one is it's kind of like that same one in the Sunlit Seduction. Now it's not as shiny, it's a satin, but I don't know. I kind of wish that one wasn't there. I don't think I've ever used that one. I've used the one in Sunlit Seduction. I don't think I've used that one. But all the other shades are amazing. When I wore it today, I was like, wow, I forgot how gorgeous this palette is. Again, it's been sitting at the bottom of my drawer because I have too many palettes that I can't use, and I end up not using them. So hopefully with a smaller collection, I will get to the ones that I love, and Bronze Seduction is definitely one of them, and it is my number 4. Okay, so now we're into my top 3, and my number 3 palette is the 7th in her collection, and it is Divine Rose. So now mine is black. I know they came out in pink. I didn't get that one, but Divine Rose, I want to say this was my first Mothership. I think so. And this is cool toned, which I'm a warm tone girl. And this is more cool toned than warm toned. And this was like, oh, now I see what everybody's talking about. But you've got, you know, two beautiful mattes. You've got these beautiful satins, but these special shades. And this is a palette that, again, it's neutral, but it's got a little kick to it. This is like, it looks like it's white, but it's not. You know, it's just so stunning on the eye. It's gorgeous. Just all of these are amazing, and I love this palette. It's just so beautiful. So definitely, if you would love cool tones, I definitely highly recommend this one. But my number 3 is the original Divine Rose. Okay, and then there were two, and I'm going to be honest, number 1 and number 2, it was kind of like Natasha Denona. These are interchangeable. I did end up going with my number 1, but this one could be my number 1 very easily. And it is the 9th in the Mothership, and this is Huetopian Dream. When this came out, I fell in love. I wore this thing constantly. I wore it just all the time. These shades right here are just amazing. These shades right here, I can't even, they're just fantastic. Now I love that you've got these two beautiful mattes right here, but then you also have like this coral matte, which is stunning. It's just a gorgeous coral matte. So you do have this like pop of color. You've got just these, I guess they're Bliss Astrals. I don't know if that's what these are called, so somebody's gonna correct me if I'm wrong, but the special shades, they're gorgeous. I've worn this one so many times. Every time I wear it, it's just like my eyes sparkle. It's incredible. It's just gorgeous, and it is a dream. It is a gorgeous palette. I love the coral. Again, I tend to like warm tones, but gorgeous palette. Highly recommend it. So this is my number 2, Huetopian Dream, which I believe was the 9th Mothership. Yeah, 9. Okay, and then there was one, and my number 1, I actually wore to my son's birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese, because why not? Like, it's just gorgeous, and you know, why not wear something fun and wear Pat McGrath to Chuck E. Cheese? But it is the 10th Mothership, and it doesn't have a number on it, but it's the 10th Mothership, and it is the Moonlight Seduction. This is gorgeous. I've loved this one, and I was using Huetopian Dream nonstop when this one came out, and then it was like, oh, this one's gorgeous too. Like, it's just amazing. Love these shades. I don't know if you can see, but this one has a dent in it. Like, this one has a serious dent. Like, I go into the shade every time I use this palette. Like, it's just amazing. The other 3 shades are amazing here. The 3 mattes are incredible. I love that you've got like this neutral brown and then dark brown for those 2 shades, but then you also got this beautiful plum, which is different, and I really like it. You can make it light to do a transition, and then also build it up on the outside to do it as the crease, and just use that one shade but get some depth with it. The rest of the shades are gorgeous. But again, the reason why this is my number 1 is because of this shade right here. It is stunning. It's gorgeous. I love it. I love how my eyes look every time I wear it. It's just amazing. So my number 1 Pat McGrath palette is the 10th one in her Mothership, Moonlight Seduction. So there you have it. That is my ranking of my Pat McGrath Mothership palettes, all 11. It's driving me nuts, my little OCD. I like things like, you know, 10s or 5s, or an even number. I don't like the number 11. I was kind of hoping she'd come out with one this year and I'd go, okay, I'll do 12, but then she didn't. So, but that's my ranking. So I would say when I do my declutter, I will definitely be keeping 1 through 5 for sure. Number 6, Divine Rose 2, I'm still unsure about, and I think I'm gonna have to like look at my entire collection and see what I have, and do I have anything with like a hot pink color and stuff like that, of whether or not I keep that, because I really want to keep the ones I love. But not that I don't think I would not, you know, there's none that I wouldn't recommend. Decadence is probably the one I would say, unless you really love satins, then don't get that one. But all the other ones I think are great. It's just about the color story and what you're going to use. I really am trying to focus my mindset and change my mindset of not having every palette in a specific collection. So I'm trying not to have every Mothership anymore. I kind of wanted to do this ranking and then be done with them and move on, and then just keep the ones I love. So I do recommend them. You just can't get wrong. You know, you can't go wrong with the quality. So I hope she still comes out with a future Mothership in 2025. Let's see. I'm hoping, but you know, who knows? Who knows where the brand is going? But with that, if you like this video, click like, click and subscribe. That way you get a notification every time I post a new video. Bye everyone.